And 99% of people assume dinosaurs were just giant, slow lizards. But the debate rages, were these giants ectotherms or endotherms? We begin our journey by examining the fossil evidence for internal heat generation. The first mechanism, sheer metabolic mass, sometimes called gigantothermia. This passive heating relies on having an enormous body volume to lose heat slowly. To giant dinosaurs, like the long-necked herbivores, were thermal inertia powerhouses. And now that we understand gigantothermia, let's explore the blood flow mechanisms. A mechanism to involve sophisticated circulatory adaptations for heat retention. This system prevents core heat from escaping through extremities too quickly. This controlled circulation is a hallmark of active, internal temperature regulators. However, if they produced too much heat, they needed active cooling, our third method. Many dinosaurs possessed elaborate structures, like sails or massive head crests. But these acted as massive radiators, dumping excess internal metabolic heat. Active display behavior could maximize cooling when the sun beat down intensely. This behavior suggests control over core temperature beyond simple environmental absorption. But smaller dinosaurs faced the opposite challenge of rapid heat loss. A mechanism for insulation, especially visible in feathered lineages. Feathers evolved long before powered flight. They were excellent thermal blankets. But this insulation kept vital core heat locked in during cooler nocturnal periods. But even dinosaur parents used brooding behaviors, much like modern birds do. But now that we understand insulation, let's discuss behavioral thermoregulation. Mechanism 5 is behavioral choicing, actively seeking or avoiding thermal resources. A cold dinosaur would flatten its body against these heated surfaces to maximize transfer. This simple action is potent evidence of environmental temperature dependency. Conversely, overheating triggered a retreat to shade or water sources. Aquatic environments offered excellent thermal buffering against drastic air temperature shifts. With these 5 methods, taken together, paint a much more nuanced metabolic picture. The fossil record shows rapid bone growth rates, typical of warm-blooded animals. But rapid growth doesn't automatically equate to constant, high-set internal temperatures. We must consider the heart-to-body mass ratio, another indicator of active metabolism. When active predators needed sustained energy levels that suggest significant internal heat production. This sustained activity points toward a metabolic engine running consistently hot. Endothermy is defined by this internal, self-sustaining energy conversion process. But even endotherms utilize external sources when available, like sun basking. This suggests a flexible range, perhaps mesothermia, a middle ground between extremes. The environment dictated the immediate priority, survival or optimization. For aquatic reptiles, buoyancy also played a critical role in thermal management. Water absorbs and retains heat far differently than air, slowing down temperature swings. A tooth structure can also hint at diet, linking food acquisition to energy needs. The hunting requires bursts of sustained, high-output power, favoring endothermy. But yet large herbivores needed immense processing power, suggesting a high baseline metabolism. Our respiration efficiency is key. Complex nasal passages suggest high oxygen demands. A high oxygen throughput is necessary to fuel constant, internal heat production. The need to actively seek shade strongly implies a danger of overheating, not just warming up. This behavioral cooling suggests their internal furnaces ran quite hot most of the time. The Mesozoic climate was often warmer, demanding robust temperature management capabilities. Surviving extreme heat waves or cold snaps requires a highly regulated core. Revisiting circulatory control, the sheer scale of the limbs presented massive surface area challenges. They were likely not perfectly one or the other, but masters of thermoregulation flexibility. The small forms needed high metabolism just to maintain their elevated body temperature. Evolution favored those who could manage thermal stress most effectively across diverse habitats. But even bone histology suggests elevated metabolic rates compared to modern reptiles. But this points toward an ancestral physiology closer to birds than crocodiles. The marine environment confirms that size alone does not dictate cold-blooded necessity. The existence of active heat-dumping radiators is difficult to explain without internal heat. The juvenile dinosaurs, being small, must have relied heavily on insulation and parental care. This suggests thermoregulation evolved across a broad spectrum within the group itself. We are seeing a legacy of successful adaptation, blurring our neat categories. The dinosaurs controlled temperature using mass, circulation, radiation, insulation, and behavior. They were not simply hot or cold, they were perfectly adapted to their world.